It's time to get inside the Giants huddle.
Huddle up, huddle up, huddle up.
On Giants.com.
Here we go.
And the Giants mobile
Get
app.
them in there, let's go.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle Podcast. From now until training camp, we'll have a series of player interviews. We've split them up by position to kind of give you a feel of where this Giants team is heading into training camp of 2022. Just as a reminder, you can find the Giants Huddle Podcast on your favorite podcast platforms, on the Giants mobile app, and at giants.com/podcasts. All right, a bit of a hodgepodge episode today. We only got one running back this year, Matt Breida. We'll talk to him first. Also after that, stay tuned. We have Casey Kreiter, the Giants long snapper, and place kicker Graham Gano. But let's start with newcomer Matt Breida. Now we're joined by Giants running back Matt Breida. Matt, how are you, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
Welcome aboard. How has it been? I know you were with Buffalo last year, so how much has just this been a continuation? How much is different coming down here with Coach Daboll?
A lot of it's a continuation, especially the culture and everything that he brought over. Also Joe, our GM.
Yep.
Kind of feels like Buffalo almost, but with their own little bit of flavor to it.
Well, give me a feel. Obviously, I've been here for a long time, but I've only been in the building with these guys for a few months. What is Bill's culture? Explain it to me.
Oh man, it's definitely first and foremost. We're here to win. We're here to win games, here to win championships. And I feel like, Daboll and Joe came over, and that's the first thing, they established. And then the next big thing is team camaraderie. We're here to play for one of our brothers and one another. And I feel like when you do that, it helps you later on in the season.
So how do you balance then? Because based on, I was here always back to Tom Coughlin. So I've seen really serious atmospheres. I've seen looser atmospheres. And this seems like a bit of a looser atmosphere. But at the same time, I've also seen when things go wrong on the practice field that coach doesn't like, he lets y'all know about it, right? So how does he balance keeping that great camaraderie, keeping it a little more relaxed, but at the same time making sure you get the job done?
Yeah, I think that's what you said, just making sure we get the job done. He wants us to be loose, wants us to be ourselves, but at the same time, like I said, we're here to win. So, when it's time to get serious, when it's time to get on the field, it's time to go to work. And, I feel like he does a great job of that. And also, too, the guys want to play for him. He can relate to a lot of guys well, just from how he grew up and where he's from. A lot of us can relate to that. So it's a guy you want to play for.
What is this running game going to look like? Is it a lot of outside zone, inside zone? Is it more gap and power stuff? What should Giant fans expect from the run game this year?
I think it's going to be a little mix of everything. Obviously, if any of you guys watch the offense in Buffalo, it'll be a little bit slimmer. But also too, with Kafka here, there'll be a little more sauce to it. From Kansas City. So I think it's going to be a mixture of both. So we're going to have teams guessing, what we're going to be running.
Talk about the sauce, because a lot of people have mentioned that too. Maybe they haven't used quite that word, but explain to me, what's the sauce that Mike Kafka is bringing from KC?
Oh man, different types of formations, motions, guys all over the place, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. And this is the type of offense you want to be in if you're a playmaker. The guy that gets in space. This offense you want to be in.
It's funny. I had Davis Webb here, who's similar to you. He's coming from Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him, I went back and I probably watched 8 of your full games last year, try to figure out what the offense would look like. And then I watched you guys in practice. I'm like, I think I see some more pre-snap motion than I maybe saw with Buffalo last year. And that's kind of what you just mentioned. How does that help a guy like you as a running back with so much speed? You want to get in space, and there's misdirection pre-snap. How does that help the offense and a guy like you succeed?
Oh, it helps it tremendously because, it's harder for the defense to line up, especially, when you're going fast. And, that's one of the things we want to do is go fast on offense. So, it creates mismatches, especially like me on linebackers. Just like you said, I'm fast. So anytime I get on them guys one-on-one in space, I feel like I can win. So, it's a great offense you want to be in.
And especially when you got a guy like Wandale Robinson, right, who he was basically a running back in Nebraska before he went to Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
You got like Kadarius Toney. You get the ball in his hands. Who knows what the hell that guy's going to do? He's a freak show, right?
Yep.
So when you have that many guys moving behind the quarterback, does that just put the defense, make them pause a couple of seconds to kind of give you that extra space? Like, what do you see when you see them kind of watching everything going on in the backfield?
Oh, man, if I was on the defense, my head would be spinning, because, once again, it's all about mismatches. And I feel like this game, especially, our offense, we'll be able to do that with a lot of guys. We got a lot of great skill players, and I just can't wait to see them this year and what they're going to do.
Describe your game for Giant fans. What should they expect for you when you have the ball in your hands on the football field?
I'm going to go out there and make plays, any opportunity I get, whether that's 5 carries or 25 carries, whatever I got to do to help this team, I'm going to do. I'm versatile. I feel like you guys know I'm very fast. But, I feel like I can run between the tackles well. And then definitely on special teams, too, I can contribute on that as well.
How much should we expect running backs to be involved in the passing game in this system?
Oh, a lot. Like I said, it's all about mismatches. And I feel like we got a lot of backs on this team that can do that. And, between me, Saquon, you got Antonio Williams, Gary, you got a bunch of guys, man, that just really get out there and ready to fight.
And that also doesn't necessarily mean out of the backfield too, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll put you guys out in slot and wide receiver formations too,
of course,
right?
yeah, because a lot of us can do that, and I feel like that's how the game's evolving. Padding so much as a running back, you got to be able to catch and run routes these days.
And you want to catch him in man-to-man, right?
Oh,
so when
yeah.
you motion out and that 250-pound linebacker's following you, then all of a sudden that's what you're looking for.
Oh, yeah,
right?
man. You're licking your chops anytime you see that because, like I said, it's a mismatch. And, if you get the ball, you can take it to the crib. So, I can't wait for the season. It's going to be a great one.
From just a running back perspective, because I have trouble watching practice, especially without pads, figuring out what a running back has, right? Is it hard for you two in the spring when there's no hitting and there's no pads to really get into a rhythm just because it's not quite real football yet?
Yeah, I think it's good, definitely to, get the timing of plays down and stuff. But as far as a running back, you got to get tackled to be down, right? So I feel like a lot of evaluation happens during camp, see how guys run the ball, see if they're willing to pass protection. Same thing on offensive line. It's harder for them to run block right now. We can't do much of that because we can't hit. So, like I said, it's good to get your technique down and stuff, but then training camp comes, you put the pads on, you can do a little bit more.
Yeah, because so much of your position is feel, right?
Yeah.
So you had to see where the offensive linemen and how they block. You have to react off their blocks. And I got to imagine, maybe some 9-on-7 stuff in the summer, but I imagine preseason games have got to be really important for you to really get into a rhythm, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the first time you're back in pads, first time you get to hit, other guys that are not on your team. And, it's a good way to get back in rhythm, get the flow of the game, and like you said, be able to read the blocks and know what's going on in the pass game.
Matt, we can't wait to see it. Thanks for the time, man.
Appreciate
it. See you in the end of July.
Thank you.
Giants season tickets are on sale now for the 2022 season. In addition to ticket savings, membership benefits include access to exclusive events, experiences, pre-sales, and more. You can lock in your seats starting at just $100. Call 888-NYG-1925 or visit giants.com/tickets for more information. And now we're joined by Giants kicker Graham Gano. Graham, how are you, man?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Happy to be back up in New York.
Yeah, all right, so let's start here. You have a new holder.
That's right.
How's it going?
It's going well. We've been working this offseason when I've come up here and kicked with Jamie and Casey, and those guys are pros. It was nice having some consistency the last couple of years, but that's part of the game, and I'm excited to work with Jamie as well.
Yeah, I was talking to Casey, and he said you guys can kind of pick up where you left off. It's kind of old hat maybe is a little bit strong, but you guys have picked up a little bit. So What has it been like, Jamie learning your rhythm and you learning his rhythm to make sure that field goal mechanics is good?
Yeah, it's been good. We've had some good success up here in the times that we've kicked together so far. But I think the big thing is going to be the time that we get in minicamp and training camp. Those are the times that we're going to be able to spend the most time with each other. And I think we're going to try and get together the next month after minicamp and get some work in. But it really is the amount of time you can really spend with each other and watching film and seeing different things here and there that we can make the operation a little bit smoother, but I'm not worried about it. I think we're going to be fine.
You've been in a lot of different programs in your career. You've seen how different coaches handle things. What's the environment been like for you under Joe Shane and Brian Daboll here in the building?
It's been fantastic. I'm happy to have a job, and it's a blessing being able to play this game, and I'm excited that they believe in me, and just to be able to be here and play for such an amazing fan base. I'm excited about it. But in the time that I have been here with these guys, I'm excited for what's to come. People
overuse that word culture, I think, but how would you describe what it's just like to work in the building under the new regime?
Yeah, I'd say it's like a family. Everybody's together, everybody's getting to know each other. That's the one thing since day one being here I've loved about our locker room is it's wide open. Everybody talks to everybody. Everybody's mixed up. You got different positions here, different positions there, and everybody has a chance to get to know one another. So I think it's going to be great. Everybody's fired up and ready to work.
Nice. So what do you do now? You have 6 weeks off between the end of camp here to end of minicamp to training camp. How does Graham Gano stay ready? What do you do?
I will stay in the weight room. I love getting after it. I've got 5 kids, so I'm always on my feet playing with them. My wife's an athlete as well. She's the better athlete of the two of us. So
I think that's harder work to 5 kids than being at OTAs and minicamp.
That's a fact. I know. I've had my kids FaceTime me and calling me, and yeah. So I'll do a lot of playing outside, a lot of fishing and hanging out and just spending time with them. That's time that I really cherish before the season starts, and I try to make the most of it.
We talked last year, and you said you don't get very technical with your kicking. It's more of a feel thing for you.
For sure.
So how do you keep that feel? You know what I mean? If you don't have like a technical way to get it right, how do you make sure you keep that feel?
Yeah, I've got different keys for how I'm kicking, try to mimic things that are going on in the game. But as far as my form and all that, I've tried to simplify it as much as possible to where, if something's a little bit off, it's an easy fix. And I approach practice just like I do the games, and that's something I haven't really changed in probably the last 10, 11 years. And so, when something's maybe not feeling right, it's easy to make that, minor adjustment.
Graham, good stuff, man. I appreciate
Awesome.
the time.
Thanks. Go Giants.
Giants kicker, Graham Gano. Don't miss your chance to experience a premier hospitality experience watching Giants games and world-class concerts in 2022 as a Giants suite partner. Limited full-season locations are available, or place a deposit for individual games. Call 888-NYG-1925 or visit giants.com/suites for more information. And now we're joined by Giants long snapper Casey Kreiter. Casey, how are you, man?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. All right, let's talk about it. What has it been like under the new regime so far through OTAs and minicamp?
It's been really good. I think there's a sense of, I think guys are coming to work having fun. There's a good energy in the locker room, and we have to convert that into wins in the long run. But there's definitely revamped energy.
Now that's always the trick, right? And is it hard? You've been to place, and there's always excitement in the spring, right? What's some things that you've seen that make you believe that this will work long term?
I think the margin of error in the NFL is so small.
Sure.
I've been on teams where I left and thought they're going to be really good, and they weren't good, and vice versa. So I think it's just about building that camaraderie in the locker room, trusting the coaches, trusting each other, and you're going to have ups and downs every season. So you just got to fight through them and come out on top.
Now, you're working with a new punter and a new holder now with Jamie Gillen. How has that been?
It's been great. Jamie works his butt off. One of the hardest working guys I've been around. We've had a lot of fun together. I've been doing this a long time, so it just takes a week or two working with a guy, and then things smooth themselves out. And I look forward to working with Jamie every day. He's my lifting buddy in the weight room right now, so we've been putting a lot of work in.
What's the process been like with you, him, and Graham, kind of getting those mechanics down and the timing down on the field goals?
I think more than anything, it's just learning each other's nuances. There is a timing aspect to the operation, and you throw a new guy in, he has different mannerisms, and you just have to get used to him, learn them, and get a good feel for it. There's a little bit of a feeling, I would equate it to maybe putting in golf. You got to go out with a good feeling, and you got to know the timing of everything.
That's funny. I was talking to Jeff Fiegels, and he's did this a million years, and he was having a long conversation with Jamie at practice the other day. And Jamie, he's been in the league for a while, but this is still kind of new for him. So how have you and Graham tried to continue to help him develop as a punter and kind of learn that craft as a holder to get those mechanics perfectly the way you need them?
I think more than anything, as a long snapper, it's my job to set him up for success when he's punting. So learning what he likes in his snaps, where he likes the ball, when he's punting a certain direction, put a certain type of punt, where would he rather have the ball than other places. And for field goals, again, it's the timing and just learning, trying to minimize our margins of error. Because again, it's my job to set those guys up for success. And if I don't throw a good snap, it's hard for them to do that. So it's really just more listening and learning what he likes and what he doesn't like.
Working with a vet like Graham, can you just pick up where you left off last year? Or is it like a couple of hours? All right, we're back. How quickly do you guys kind of get back into that rhythm?
Yeah, it's funny. When I first met Graham in 2020, he kind of signed in the middle of camp. And being as veteran as he was, it was like, he'd been working with us forever. And I think that's the nice thing about working with veteran specialists is they know how to handle other specialists and they kind of know what they need. And that communication is pretty streamlined. And then you just adjust and go from there.
How about you? You've been doing this such a long time. Do you still set goals for yourself every offseason, things you want to work on? And what were some of those goals you set for yourself this offseason?
Yeah, every year's a little different. I think this year for me, coverage is going to be a big goal of mine. Getting down there, getting in the mix, making a positive impact in coverage. The scheme the last 2 years, I wasn't super involved in that. So that's going to be the biggest change this year for me. But, overall, it's just like the laces, keeping the laces consistent. I think I was on a 2 or 3 year streak without missing laces in a game.
Nice.
And we got a field goal in Miami last year where the ball wasn't on a hash mark. It was in between hashes, and it messed up the distance. So that's a big thorn in my side the laces weren't exactly right on that field goal. So every year it's just all about consistency, accuracy, and hopefully not losing us a game by having a bad snap.
It's funny, you mentioned the scheme. As I figure Thomas McGahee's back, the scheme's not going to be that much different. But are there changes now with the new head coaching staff? Does he put his input then on special teams, and that might change some of your responsibilities in terms of things like coverage?
I think every year a scheme's different. Whether you're with the same coordinator or a new coordinator, the league changes every year, and it's just adapting to whatever you're asked to do. Frankly, the scheme changes every week to week. But when you're looking at special teams, you don't really notice it that much because the changes might be very, very small.
All right, let me ask you around the league question real quick. Who are the guys that you think about in this league that you circle on your calendar in terms of return guys where you're like, we don't want to let this guy get his hands on the football? Who are the guys right now in the league that you think are the most dangerous?
I'll be honest with you. Right now in the NFL, every team has a guy like that. You think of the McCole Hardmans, the Tariq Cohens, Jakeem Grants. Those guys are just electric. And maybe a few years ago when I was playing in Denver in 17 and 18, Tyreek took the league by storm.
Sure.
And I remember going into those games against him, it was we cannot let him get started. And now, like I said, every team has a guy like that. So you can't take your foot off the gas. It takes the whole unit, good directional punt, good coverage, good protection. You can't cover a punt unless you protect it up. So, it's a big part of the game now.
Casey, good stuff, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Casey Kreiter. Great conversations. We thank the guys for joining us on this episode of the Giants Huddle podcast. I'm John Schmeelk. Remember to stay tuned, folks. Make sure you go back into the archive, find all the episodes. It's really good insight from all these players. They give you a really good feel for what this Giants offensive and defensive systems are going to be and where the team is heading into training camp. I'm John Schmeelk. Stay tuned to the Giants Huddle podcast. We'll see you next time.